12.3b and 12.4. All right, so today we're going to focus on 3x3s. 3x3 matrices. Okay? Now, with 2x2 matrices, we found the determinant, then we found the inverse, and then we did solving equations using it. And we're going to do the exact same thing with 3x3s, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do determinants by hand. Determinants by hand. And this is the only by hand thing we will do with 3x3s. Everything else is going to be done on your graphing calculator. All right, so you remember how to find the determinant of a 2x2? Yes? Do you? Yeah. You just multiply the diagonals and subtract them, okay? We're going to do that with 3x3s, but on a much bigger scale. So here we go. Number 1. Let's say that matrix A is equal to, we're going to have bigger matrices now because they're going to have 3 rows and 3 columns. So -1, 3, 5, 2, -4, 6, 0, 1, -1. All right, so there's a 3x3, and they're pretty big. You can have a 4x4 or a 5x5. It gets crazy. But we're just going to stop at 3x3s. That's the biggest one we'll do. And what we want to do is we want to find, what is that? We want to find the determinant of A. Now I'm going to have you do this by hand. So this will be on the non-calculator part. And here's how you find the determinant of A. Okay? It's not just simply one diagonal minus the other because you're missing all the other numbers and you need them. So this is what you do. You take these numbers and you're going to rewrite them. Just leave off the brackets for now. -1, 3, 5, 2, -4, 6. And just like I said, the book does not teach it this way, but I find this way to be better. 0, 1, -1. All right, now take your first 2 columns and rewrite them. So see this -1, 2, 0? We're going to rewrite that, -1, 2, 0. And the middle one, 3, -4, 1, you're going to write it here. All right, and now we're ready to find the determinant. Here's what you do. You're going to start in the left-hand corner, and you're going to multiply the diagonal, okay? So -1 times -4 times -1. What is that? -4. Good. Okay, and then we're going to, I'll keep it in blue, do the next diagonal. Okay, so plus, there's going to be pluses in between these. 3 times 6 times 0. Ooh, I love that 0 there. 0. And then plus the last diagonal of 3 going this way. See how the next one only has 2, and so these all have 3. So 5 times 2 times 1, which is 10. Okay, so that's all the diagonals going that way. You multiply them together, and then you add them up, and you get 6. Now I'm going to do all the diagonals the other way. So this one, 0 times -4 times 5, that gives me 0, plus this diagonal, 1 times 6 times -1, which is -6, okay, plus this diagonal, -1 times 2 times 3 is what, -6? No, +6. Did I do all that right?
Wait, why is it?
Did I do something wrong? Oh, it's +3. That's what was wrong. Yeah. I felt like I was doing something wrong because I knew I didn't get 0 there. All right, so I accidentally made that a negative, but it's positive. You're right. -1 times 2 times 3 is -6, and so I get -12. Okay, so I did the diagonals this way, the diagonals that way, and then what do you do with the 2x2? You subtracted them, right? That's what we're going to do here. We're going to take and do...
What about the 2 and the 4?
2 and the 4. Nope, not even worried about those. We're going to go 6 minus -12. So do the first one going left to right that way, and then up to, down to up that way, and your answer is 18. So the determinant is 18. Yay, that's it. Should we do another one?
I have curiosity.
The other way is like, it's weird. You do like, you ignore this and you find the determinant of just that box, and then you do this and you find the determinant of a different box, and it's like, it seems like it's more complicated to me. I've never really learned it that way. I've always done it. Write the other columns and do all of your diagonals minus all of your diagonals. So, are you good? Do you want to try one on your own? No? Okay, let's do one on the calculator now. Okay, so now from here on out, we're going to do calculator stuff. So, number 2. Let me go ahead and tell you that matrix A is 1, -1, 2, 0, 4, 2, 3, -6, 10. Okay. Now we're going to do two things. We're going to find the determinant of A, and we're going to find A inverse if it exists. Okay? A inverse, the inverse of a 3 by 3, you will never do by hand. I don't even know how to do it by hand, honestly. I never have. I've never been taught it. I never had to do it by hand. I've always had a calculator that will do it for me. So it's probably pretty complicated. All right, so here we go. I'm going to teach you how to do calculator matrices. So pay attention to this. Let's go. Here we go. So you have your calculator, and how many of you guys have the newer version, like a new calculator? In other words, if you hit alpha window, you get this. Hit alpha window, do you get that right there? Yeah. You have a new calculator. Some of you guys have older calculators. So like, for example, if you hit alpha zoom, you can use matrices there if you want to. Okay? No? Here, let me help you.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. There we go. All right. If you do alpha zoom, you'll get a matrix, and then you can do it that way if you want to. Okay? How do you guys have an older calculator? You don't have that. Yeah. Okay. No worries. I'm going to teach it the old way, which all of us can do. Okay? So here we go. Do you see this button right above x to the -1? What does it say? Matrix. Oh, the blue part. Whatever color yours is in. Does it say matrix? Yeah. All right, so here we go. Hit second x to the -1, and that takes you to matrices. Second x to the -1. And what you can do is, these are the names. Right now, I have a 3 by 4 already stored in my calculator from some other time. And then if you go over to math, there's the determinant, DET. We'll use that. And if you go over to edit, that's how you can actually make a matrix, okay? So go to second, x to -1, and go over to edit. Now hit enter. And the first two things is we have to tell them what size this is. So you put 3, enter, 3, enter. So now it's a 3 by 3, and we're going to go ahead and plug in all the numbers for a 3 by 3, okay? So we're going to plug in 1, and you always just hit enter, and it goes across the row. So 1, and then -1, enter, 2, enter, 0, 4, 2, 3, enter, -6, enter, and 10, enter. Okay, so go ahead and put all those numbers in. And what you're doing is you're making a calculator that's now going to be stored in your, or a matrix that's going to be stored in your calculator. Okay, so we need to get out of here. You can't hit clear. Clear won't get you out of there. What you want to do is quit. See right above mode. So second mode, it quits and it gets you out of there. Now, go back to matrix. And you should have a 3 by 3 stored. Yeah? Everyone has matrix A as a 3 by 3? Okay. So now with matrix A, we can find the determinant, we can find the inverse, because we have that matrix stored in our calculator. So scroll over to math, and number 1 says DET. Do you know what that means? Determinant. So we're going to find the determinant, but you have to tell them what you're finding the determinant of. What are we finding the determinant of? Matrix A. So you need to go back to matrix, and from names, not from edit, because that's where you actually store. But these are the names. These are the matrices that I have. I'm going to choose matrix A. Yeah?
Where did you go for the determinant?
Oh, go back to matrix and go to the middle one, which is math, and it's number 1.
Oh.
And then hit enter, and what's the determinant? It's 22. So it just did that whole thing that we did, you know, with the columns and everything, and rewriting them, diagonals. It just did it in your calculator. I know, super fast, right? So the determinant equals 22. There's no work to be shown, so that's awesome for some of you. And now let's go ahead and find the inverse. Now, since the determinant is 22, it will have an inverse, right? What can it not be? 0. Good, you remember that. Good. Okay, so let's find the inverse now. Do you remember what this looks like? The inverse is a to the negative 1. So go back to matrix and choose your matrix A. And now do this x to the negative 1 button. And that'll give you, hit enter, and that'll give you the inverse. Okay, those are really bad numbers, right? Terrible. Like, that's gross. Okay, go to math and change all those to fractions. And there it is. Beautiful.
And you just write that answer down here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just like
Yep. And so A inverse equals 26 over 11. Yeah, you got to write them all down. But guess what? We didn't have to find all of them. Math where? For matrix? Oh, math. Yeah, hit the math button. It's the third from the top on the left-hand side. Yep, and then hit frac. And it'll change all the values in your matrix into fraction form for you. Isn't this so fun? Did you get like math goosebumps and chills from that? Yeah? Okay, good. All right. All right, you try this one. Number 3. I want to see if you can do this. I always just label them A. You can just keep changing matrix A, okay? So let's do this one. We'll go -3, 2, -1, 2, 5, 2, 1, -2, 0. And so I want you to find A inverse. You don't have to find the determinant. I'm just asking you to find A inverse. Do you want to try that on your own? Yeah?
Can you show us how to do it if we do alpha zoom?
Yes, I'll do that right now. Yeah. Okay, so for those of you who have a newer calculator, what you can do is, yeah, you can go to alpha zoom, and we'll choose a 3x3. So we'll hit enter on 3, enter on 3, and then we'll hit OK. And what you can do is you don't have to store it now. See, the old ways you always had to store matrices in your calculator to use them. Now I can just type in my matrix right here. So I'm going to type in these numbers. -3, and you have to arrow over. Don't hit enter. You have to arrow. And 2, arrow, -1, arrow over, 2, 5, 2, 1, -2, 0. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to get out of your matrix. So you arrow out, you arrow twice over, and now you're out of it, and you can do the -1 button and hit enter, and it'll give it to you. So instead of storing it as a 3x3, going back into matrix, going to names, you can do that. But that's for the people who have the new calculator. And you know, it's either way. I like to teach it so that everyone knows how to do it a certain way. But yeah, I'll do the other way too. -9, -4, -19. So the other way, the old school way, is to go to matrix.
Wait, what's the last one?
Is it still
Oh, -19. Yeah. We'll go.
On the first one. Is 0.
Oh, up there, yeah. We'll go over to edit. We're going to edit our matrix. It's a 3x3, and now it has all these new numbers. So -3, 2, -1, 2, 5, 2. And make sure you do these, like, take your time. Like, I did it really quick. If I mess up on one number, everything gets messed up. All right, and then quit. Quit out of there. And then go back to matrix. Choose from the names. I'm going to choose matrix A. And I'm going to do the inverse button, and it'll give me the same answer, just doing it a different way. So that way I stored an actual matrix, and the other way I just did it on the screen with the new calculator. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to lesson 12.4. No. This is all calculator. Okay. And we're going to solve we're going to solve 3 by 3s on our calculator, okay? And I'm going to show you both ways to solve this too. It's faster. Instead of storing it, yeah, it is. All right, here we go. Still got 10 minutes. I'm almost done. Number one, we're going to go 0, 0, 2, 1, 3, negative 2, 1, negative 2, 1, okay? And then this is times x equals 6, negative 11, 8. Now, let's talk about this real quick. All right, I want to solve this matrix equation. This is just like what you did over the weekend with your 2 by 2s. Shh, are you guys ready? But it's 3 by 3s and your calculator is going to do everything for you, okay? To solve for x, you're still going to do A inverse times B, okay? That's huge right there. So this is matrix A and this is matrix B, but we're going to do it all in our calculator. So this is what you want to do. You want to go to your calculator and you want to store this as matrix A. I'm going to do it the old way first, okay? So you're going to store that as matrix A and you're going to store this one as matrix B. We're going to have 2 matrices now. Yeah, you can still do it the other way. Yeah. I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay. So let's go ahead, go to our calculator, go to matrix. I'm going to edit matrix A, and I'm going to leave matrix A as a 3 by 3. I'm going to put all these new numbers in. So what are they? 0, 0, 2, 1, 3, negative 2, 1, negative 2, 1. Okay? And we're going to quit out of there. So what I just did was I stored this first matrix as matrix A. Now go back to matrix. And we're going to go over to edit, but we don't want to edit A. We want A to stay. We're going to now edit B. So arrow down to matrix B. Is everyone okay with that? What's the dimension of B? It's a 3 by 1. Now, if you did it wrong, your calculator will show you. Like if you're like, no, that's a 1 by 3. And you go 1 by 3, it does it that way. You know that's not right. Okay? So it's a 3 by 1. And it's 6, negative 11, and 8. And then quit out of there too. Okay, so all of our stuff is stored in. The only thing that people forget to do, they're pretty good at that. You know, you guys are pretty good at the calculator. They forget to do A inverse. So they'll accidentally do A times B. You don't want to do that. You want to do A inverse times B. So here we go. Go back to matrix. Choose matrix A. And then do the inverse times, back to matrix, and choose, now arrow down in the names column, arrow down to B and choose B. So we're doing A inverse times B, and the answer is, ooh, and they're usually going to turn out nice, 1, negative 2, 3. If you didn't get that, you may have put a number in wrong somewhere. Okay? Did you do it the other way?
Yeah.
It's faster, yeah. But I can't teach that because not everyone has that calculator. I'll do the next one that way, okay? All right, number 2. Now, do you guys remember? You may not. It was like a whole semester ago, but you guys had to solve 3 by 3s, like a system of 3 equations with 3 unknowns. Remember that x, y, z? You had to do double elimination, and it took forever. Your calculators can do it using matrices. So x minus 3y plus 3z, this is my last problem, equals negative 4. 2x plus 3y minus z equals 15. And 4x minus 3y minus z equals 19. Now, this was a last semester problem, and we have to solve, and we're looking for the point x, y, z. It's a 3-dimensional point, and it's really, this is a hard problem. But what we're going to do is we're going to do this on our calculator, okay? So, I'm going to have matrix A is my coefficient matrix. It's just the coefficients of all the variables. If it's missing a variable, then you put a 0 there, okay? So it's 1, -3, 3, 2, 3, -1, 4, -3, -1. So that's the coefficient matrix. The variable matrix is x, y, z in that order. And then this is equal to the constant matrix, which is what? -4, 15, 19. Okay. And then to solve for x, y, z, your calculator is going to do all this work for you. You're going to do A inverse times B. Okay? Now, for those of you who have an older calculator, you can store these in for A and B and do it the way we did last time. But for those of you who have a newer calculator, I'll show you how to do it, that you don't have to use the storing feature of your calculator. So this is going to be matrix A right here. This is going to be matrix B, and you don't even need that if you just do it on the screen. So here we go. Go to Alpha Zoom and choose a 3x3 again. Hit OK. And so we'll go 1, and you're going to arrow. You always use the arrow button. It even kind of tells you, like, see that arrow? It tells you to arrow over. And then you even arrow again. 2, 3, -1, 4. I might require people to have this kind of calculator. Okay? It is. And then you do inverse. Don't forget that little button makes a huge difference. If you don't do that, the answer is going to be wrong. Because you're just doing A times B, which is not how you solve this. It's A inverse times B. And then times Alpha Zoom. And then this was a 3x1, right? 3 rows, 1 column. And we have, what, -4, 15, 19. And when you arrow out and you hit enter, it'll give it to you. Yeah. Some of you are a little jealous. I did. I put a times button there. I don't know if you need to. If you put them next to each other, I think it knows that it's times. I don't know. You can try that. Here, I can hit second enter. I'm going to take the times out.
It's a 3x1.
Yeah. I'm going to take that times out and see if it works. Where are you going? Enter. Still works. Don't even need the times. So then make sure you write it as a point, because we just found, how great is that, right? Are you kind of mad at me that I didn't teach you that back in the day? When I made you do all this by hand and make you do, yeah, you should be.